インテル入ってる。
So 146 for three is where India stand after the first day of actual cricket in the first ever World Test Championship final has come to a curtailed end with bad light. But we did get 64.4 overs. We did get 9 overs after tea time when we last met on Intel Presents ESPN Cricket for Matchday powered by Royal Stag. So I'll just get a quick comment or two from Steyn and Sanjay Manjrekar. Now that we've called time on this day, we're hoping 4 more days of Test cricket with that reserve day triggered. But Sanjay, all things considered, India 146 for 3. Would they take that? Would you take that if you were in the Indian camp?
I think the key line there is all things considered in 64.4 overs that they've just lost 3 wickets on what is going to be the most difficult day to bat on, because they lost the toss, overcast conditions. It was the perfect storm, for the batsmen who have never batted before the test match. On this trip, they had 2 openers who have never played in England before. All things considered, I think India will be very happy with the current situation.
Dale, same question. Is this India's day or is this test match still in the balance?
I think it's still in the balance, but I think India will be very happy. They'll want to kick on tomorrow morning when they get out there. They'll want a big partnership. One big partnership can get them to 250. If this partnership just kicks on, even 300, then New Zealand are looking in a tight space. And having played it at Hampshire, I know what that wicket sometimes does is day one, it's a bit slow, it's a bit sticky, it creates those divots in the wicket. You can't see it right now, but there'll be a relentless amount of bowling on that wicket where it will create those divots. And as it hardens, it'll become almost more difficult to bat later on in the innings when New Zealand have to bat last. And it might just do a little bit more and a lot quicker. And that's when you find those edges. When it's slow like this, you see a lot of the balls beating the bat by a long distance. Maybe by day 4, day 5, you'll start to find those edges, and it'll happen a lot quicker. So India will be very happy, but New Zealand will know 2 wickets tomorrow morning, and the game is really on the balance.
The impact of this partnership, Sanjay, Rahane and Kohli, with what's to come after. I mean, now what's to come is anybody's guess. Pant and Jadeja and Ashwin, and then the fast bowlers. But what about this partnership and how important it's been and how important it has to carry on for India tomorrow morning?
With Ajinkya Rahane, you can never be sure because his career has been that way, Raunak. We've been watching him for the last 3-4 years, and suddenly, out of the blue, it gets out. And not one particular fashion, but, he's worked hard, he's fought hard. So, yes, he'll continue to back himself. But the key batsman, obviously, is Virat Kohli because he's more predictable. You can see that he's batting out of his skin there. It was almost like, he was batting like Pujara there, grinding away strike rate of 40. He's been around for a long time, but he seems to be enjoying himself. So he'll carry on with the same way. I don't see him losing his concentration. He loves test batting, but now, considering this platform has been set, there are the batsmen to come watching from the dressing room. Their mood will be different. When India lost the toss, their psyche would have been different. But now, watching how their colleagues have batted with Rishabh Pant to come, Ashwin, Jadeja, slight danger there for New Zealand. Having said that, just looking at New Zealand as a side, India with its quality bowling lineup, it's not going to be a test match of just one inning. So we'll have to wait for both innings to unfold to finally, know which team is going to win because it's going to be a good test match.
What can we expect in the first session tomorrow, Dale? You said you know this surface well. We're expecting a little bit of rain overnight. Forecast is for some rain tomorrow morning as well, and then it clears out. What are we expecting tomorrow morning? Is it more of the same, or will things get easier for India to bat on?
I think it will just be more of the same. There will be some swing around. We didn't have a lot of play today. That wicket might get a little bit harder, so things might quicken up a little bit. But I think it'll be more of the same thing today. The ball looks like it's going to swing all test match. It was still swinging now when it was 60-something overs old. So it's going to swing around tomorrow morning and much the same as today. But hopefully that weather stays away, because if it stays away, I think this is going to be a good game. I mean, every test match is a good game, but there's a lot on the line here in this game, and you can tell that both teams are up for it. So let's just hold thumbs that the weather stays away because it's panning out to be a good one.
Yeah. you get a sneaky feeling that there is going to be a result in this, no matter how. Maybe the weather will only add to the drama, but it's been a compelling 64 overs of Test cricket to watch. Now, I wonder if either of you have seen enough of the pitch to comment on what Shane Warne said earlier in the day today. And it was Shiboni, as we know him to be in cricket, was quite direct with his views, and he put out a tweet disappointed with New Zealand's choice of side. He believes that this surface is going to spin big with huge footmarks developing already, and he did put this up a fair while back during the day. And he does remind us that if it seems it will spin. Dale mentioned that a little earlier in our program too. So 275, 300 is Warnie's assessment of that being, a match-winning score pretty much for India. Sanjay, would you like to respond to that? I'll get Dale after that.
See, I don't think the pitch is going to turn because it's going to get dry. Unless the weather surprises us and the sun comes down harshly for the next 3 days and dries the pitch out completely. Maybe he's talking about the rough. I don't know whether he's on site looking at those roughs, but clearly in the coverage you can see the rough developing, and that's something that's a feature in England. But there are various kinds of roughs as well. So whether this is one of those hard, nasty roughs, we'll have to wait and see, or it's going to be one of those, benign roughs that look more threatening than they actually are. So I can see the rough coming into play, but at this stage, considering the weather forecast, I don't see the whole strip becoming so dry that spinners will start ruling in this test match.
Dale?
Yeah, I agree with Sanjay. I don't think the spinners will absolutely dominate. I think the ball's shown enough, the conditions have shown enough that it's going to swing, and the choice of 5 seamers is enough. I do like the option of a spinner. I mean, I said it before the start. It's always nice to have that option of a spinner. But is the spinner going to be the guy who's going to take the bulk of the wickets? Probably not. I still think that the seamers would do the most damage. So not the end of the world for New Zealand. But yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's always nice to have a spinner. It just changes up, brings a little bit of variety in it. But like Sanjay also said, the way that Rishad Pant bats, and if they did play Patel, and the way that Rishad played Leach in India when it was turning, then there could be chaos from that side too. So, yeah, there's arguments from both sides.
Add Jadeja to the mix as well. And, Raunak, they would have had to drop somebody like a Colin de Grandhomme to make space for a left-arm spin. And you can see how they use Colin de Grandhomme. He might not look a guy that, gets everyone's attention, but he's already bowled more than Wagner has done in this inning. So there will be phases when, with the right overcast conditions, they'll use him quite a lot. And they've got sort of accustomed to using him, not just as a part-time bowler, but as one of the 5. I mean, he's bowled as much as a couple of other seam bowlers.
Sure. Yep.
Does Conway?
Please.
Sorry. Well, I was just asking, does Devon Conway throw the arm over a little bit? He might bowl a bit of spin. I mean, if they wanted to, you can always have somebody bowl. Hopefully, there's a golden arm somewhere along the line if they're desperate for a wicket. I know Kane Williamson has also bowled, but it's what Warner's talking about is more the specialist spinner, I suppose. But if you wanted someone just as a variety, you could always throw in those guys.
Yeah, we've Devon Conway's listed on our Cricinfo profile page with 9 first-class wickets in 110 games at an average of just under 52, and we've listed him as a bowling style of right-arm medium, which doesn't necessarily inspire a lot of confidence. But if we've seen that happen, we've seen unlikely people get the ball if it is turning. So Williamson is one option, but I get Dale's point. I do get Dale's point. Right.
I've seen AB get a wicket, so yeah.
Absolutely. Before I do leave you two, Warnie also happened to mention towards the end of that tweet that he thinks 275, 300 for India is match winning. From the evidence of what you've seen, Dale, can you predict what could be a good first inning score on this surface?
Yeah, I think I agree with Warnie. Anywhere close to that 275, 300 is going to be really difficult. I think it will become more difficult to bat day 4, day 5 when this pitch starts to harden up and those divots come into play. Just from my experience, from what I remember, it might not happen. Who knows? But from my experience, from watching Kyle Abbott bowl on that on a day 4 pitch in first class cricket, it is really difficult. So 300, 275 could be enough.
All right, Sanjay.
It's a very good score. India is a dangerous side if they get their nose ahead in a test match. Then whatever scales and conditions don't matter. Once India, get a whiff that they might win this match, they'll make it very difficult for New Zealand. But I do believe, because of the quality of bowling lineups on both sides, and also with the uncertain weather around, I don't think we can draw too many conclusions from the outcome of the first innings as to who has a slight advantage on the first innings. I think this is going to be a fantastic 2 innings test match.
All right. Let's hope the weather stays good enough, the light stays good enough for us to have enough cricket to talk about, because it's been terrific having conversations with Sanjay Manjrekar and Dale Steyn all day today on Intel Presents ESPN Cricket for Match Day, powered by Royal Stag. Do join us tomorrow at lunchtime. Hopefully, we will have an organized first session. There is a little bit of rain around, so we might have a delayed start. Just follow espncricinfo.com on our ball by ball page, as well as the mobile app. We'll have you covered right through with what's happening at the Hampshire Bowl. And let's hope we tune in at the appropriate time to discuss what would be the first session tomorrow morning. So do join us then.
インテル入ってる。